on the ticker to the side of us on this show. But like, what is the ceiling with Kyler Murray in this offense and in Kevin O'Connell's system? And where Collar, does your mind begin when that conversation or topic surfaces?
Yeah, I mean, first, I think that the timing ends up working out really well because they're doing like a simulated get ready for a week, like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday type of practices. And they needed their starting quarterback to be able to simulate what it's like to actually get ready for a game. But in terms of the ceiling, I have always viewed this as, when we look at the best performances of Kyler Murray's career, they always land in a kind of the same exact way and in the same exact place in terms of like rankings. So it's always somewhere between like 10th and 15th, where 2021, he peaked as a PFF top 10 quarterback. Other times he's been somewhere in that range. 2024, he was 12th. And this is going to be the best group of wide receivers that he's ever had in terms of how complete it is. He's had DeAndre Hopkins, he's had Trey McBride, but not a complete group like this that goes 3 deep or maybe even 4 deep if Ty Felton continues to look good. And TJ Hawkinson has started to pick up with his connection with Kyler Murray and the run game, as you've been asking people about, around camp and so forth, that, I've been very impressed these last couple of practices with where the run game is going. So I think the offensive upside is, can you crack into the top 10, which is something that, Kevin O'Connell has not really been able to do, whether it was because shortcomings in the run game or playing multiple quarterbacks and so forth. But I think that even though Murray is not a perfect quarterback by any means, he does make up for that with his scrambling. And you mentioned like the night practice that happened, and there was a lot of, back and forth about how he performed that night. Well, one thing you couldn't ignore was the red zone drill where he dropped back, immediate pressure, and just went flying out of the pocket and into the end zone. And you're like, that's something that we have not seen in Minnesota in the quarterback position at any point during Kevin O'Connell's time, and really not like this since Dante Culpepper. So I think that if those things come together, that is the potential ceiling. What the most likely is, it might not be the same question, but the ceiling, I think, is cracking the top 10.
And like, the thing for me is, if the run game does take a leap, and it is the most likely of, 10 to 15th, 20th level quarterback play, and the defense can force somewhere close to the amount of turnovers they forced 2 years ago with Sam Darnold in 2024, because they're not playing from behind as much, then I do think the folks watching this and listening to it can get pretty excited about what every weekend is going to be like with the schedule that is somewhat palatable. I'd say, Garrett, like, for you, what is the most intriguing part of the conversation related to the ceiling? Like what element of Kyler's fit or the fit with Kevin O'Connell, like, are you most curious about and locked in on, and do you want to hear about, I would say?
Well, the one thing that I'm going to follow most throughout the season is just the blend of Kyler's, with going through college at Oklahoma and then the first couple of years under Cliff with him in the air raid, and then how we're going to have the vertical passing attack with Kevin O'Connell, with a player that Collier said during practice where he darted out, made a great play. How is that going to be shown on a consistent basis throughout the season? Where how are we going to react when there's real pressure during actual NFL games? And not only that, but I'm also eager to see with the topic of Kevin O'Connell quarterbacks get hit quite a bit because of the deep passing attacks, and because O'Connell is essentially willing to make the sacrifice of, short passing, or the sacrifice to go for the big plays, hoping that we have those big 15 to 20 plus yard chunk plays at the cost of his quarterback getting hit. So that's one thing that I'm going to be, really paying attention throughout the season. And if there's times where does Kyler get happy feet because of, potentially the idea of getting hit, but I mean, obviously want the best for Kyler, for the team. And I can't wait to see the connection between Kyler and Justin Jefferson this year, which we saw today at practice.
Yeah. And like, the conversation, Kyler, we can talk about this a little bit, because I think it's been interesting to me from the very beginning of when Kyler first signed, of how is this spread-oriented, smaller stature player going to fit in this under center-oriented, deep drop back, throw the ball vertically type of offense. And it's such an interesting conversation that wades into the area of the game schematically that I think all of us are pretty fascinated about. But I can just say we haven't seen a preseason game. We haven't seen a game. What I've seen on the practice field in terms of the creativity, the shotgun usage, some of the motion, and I'll just keep it very general with this, like some of the pass concepts to distribute the ball quick out of Kyler Murray's hands already have me intrigued because I believe it declares and shows a little bit of a willingness of the scheme to evolve. And that shouldn't surprise probably any of us because you guys both know, like, no system stays the same year over year, week over week. That just doesn't happen in the NFL. It's more a matter of how many new wrinkles can you implement? And it feels to me, Collar, and maybe you can verify this, or if you think I'm wrong, let me have it. Like, it feels to me like they have already invested in trying to implement a bunch of different wrinkles that do fit with what Kyler has had success with in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think in one way, like, it's reasonable to look at some of the stuff from the Vikings offense with Kevin O'Connell and wonder, has he been stubborn at times? Like, there's a game where Josh Dobbs throws 35 passes against the Chicago Bears, despite the fact that he is just not on point. And, the same thing we could say for Carson Wentz last year and in some of the red zone where you're not giving it off to Jordan Mason. Instead, you're just having Carson Wentz throw and things like that. So I think there's that discussion of, were you too stubborn with certain elements of your offense? Even last year was JJ, given more of the whole offense when he needed about a third of the offense. But I think that as it applies to Kyler Murray, it's a totally different discussion because, one, I think we've seen he can make every throw in this offense and that he can run a high quality, like, total pro offense. Like, I think we've seen that enough from him in training camp. And I also think we need to give Kevin O'Connell the benefit of the doubt that this man knows a lot of football. I mean, it's not just, you know what, I only run this one offense and I can't put anything else in. And if I do, I'll just quit. I don't think that that's actually the case. And you're right. Like, we have seen a lot of different looks and some things that we've never seen before for them doing in the run game and in the pass game. Correct. And I think that they really understand Kyler has short area accuracy that is very high. But what I've been impressed for Kyler, and it really made me think about this a lot, the downfield passing has had a lot of success. Mm-hmm. And I really think that deep passing in the NFL is a function of wide receivers. I mean, because if you have Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams who are chasing down your deep balls, you're going to have a lot of success. That's not to take away from Stafford in his MVP season, but a lot of times when you're talking about the best deep ball passers, you need guys who can adjust. You need guys who can go up and make plays. And the play that sticks out to me the most in camp was where Kyler on one play just threw it up to Justin Jefferson. Not a great throw, kind of wobbly through the air, maybe ill-advised even. And yet what happened? Number 18 flies through the air like Superman, grabs it, and everybody's happy. And I think that wasn't happening very much over the last couple of years in Arizona. So I do think that we've seen the signs of